On today's episode of DIY car repairs, I'm going to be going over to my buddy Brian's house to help him work on his 2003 Chevy Avalanche. We're going to be taking the transfer case out of it, both the front and rear diffs, and we're going to be splitting the transfer case to see why it's not moving.
Alright, so today we're attempting to rebuild it on a 2003 Chevy Avalanche. This is a NP246 transfer case. Right now we're just disconnecting the front drive shaft. We've already removed the rear. There's got a couple 11mm bolts here. We're going to disconnect them. 2 retaining clips on the top and the bottom of the drive shaft U-joint. Keep in mind that these U-joints are loose and they can fall off once these bolts are loosened. And you don't want those needle bearings to fall out. Otherwise, you're asking for catastrophic results. So I just got a couple seized bolts here. I didn't bother penetrating these front bolts. I probably should have, as opposed to the rears, but we got them here. They're now. Keep in mind, most shops you'll be working in a dry facility. We're working outside in the Canadian winter.
We don't really have the dryness.
Shop. Anyways, we're just doing a quick how-to video how to remove these drive shafts, how to open the case on a transfer case, determine your cause of your 4x4 not working. My particular case, the 4-wheel drive, the dash lights, none of them are illuminated. It's not engaging into any gear. I could put it into drive and my truck doesn't move. At first I thought it was a transmission when it first happened, but after some debate I thought maybe it's probably just a transfer case and maybe the chain on the inside snapped, and that's what we're going to take it apart to try to determine. So right now we're going to try and pry out this front drive shaft now that it's loosened up enough. Keep in mind this front drive shaft is spring loaded and you will have to use a pry bar to remove it. So you're going to have to try and find a good spot to try and pry it out. This one doesn't seem to be too bad. My old truck was really seized and took a hell of a job to get it out. And see, there goes one of those needle caps there with the needle bearings. Just try to preserve them, try not to damage them. Very important. The best thing to do is actually tape these around once you have them removed. These U-joints aren't in too bad a shape, so I'm not going to change the fronts. I'll give them a good grease job as they have the grease nipple on here. So I'll do that while I have it out. And now this one is ready to be pulled out with the uke. As you can see, this tie strap here, you remove that and then this boot will slip off with the yoke and all intact.
Okay, as you can see here, we've taken the clamps off the rear of the front drive shaft. And sometimes you're going to need a little encouragement to get that out. So that's what we're going to do here now. We're going to take a flathead and we're going to try and pry on it. Where'd it go? Oh,
there it goes.
Oh.
Something popped.
Yeah, I know, it popped from the front.
What?
It popped from the front.
Yeah. Okay, you're going to have to guide it out there. I can't get it any further. Go.
Just pop from the front. See? Can you see it?
Yeah. That's okay.
Oh, pull on the front.
Yeah, I'm just gonna grab something to grab a hold of it with a hammer.
Whoa, fucking. Oh.
Here, just put it in a little bit. Okay, now.
1, 2, 3.
No, 3, 2.
1.
Ow! Smashed my head off the front there.
Cut. 3, 2, 1. Ah, she's stuck on something. There we go.
Did you go?
I got it. So on the back drive shaft, you want to look right at the end. there should be no play in the back, and it shouldn't be real stiff. These ones here are pretty stiff, so they need to be replaced. For $20, it could save a lot of trouble in the future. And it's going to be the same thing in the front. If they're nice and loose with no play, then they're still good. If they're tight and they have some play, then it'd be a good investment to replace them. And these ones here aren't that bad, but they're probably still going to be replaced. Okay, so Brian just took all the bolts out, and you can see the oil is coming out now. It's been cracked. All the bolts are out there, Brian?
Yes, sir. All the wiring harness has been disconnected. We may have a vent tube connected there somewhere, but I don't see one connected. Oh, yeah, there is one right in the very top there.
So he's
Go
gonna
ahead and pull that off.
And now we're gonna drop this down if he doesn't kill himself in the process. Okay, so here we got it pulled out. Now you're gonna need to replace your gaskets and all the normal stuff when you do something like this. So we're gonna get this inside. We're gonna get all this snow off of it because it's been dragging in the ground. And then we're gonna split it open and see what's wrong. Yeah, so that gasket needs to be replaced.
Yeah, and see what we're determining here is my truck wouldn't move. As you're recording.
Yeah.
Truck wouldn't move. Didn't think it was a transmission. I didn't have reverse. I didn't have a park gear. I didn't have anything. It just RPM gauge went out of whack. I popped the truck into neutral, turned off the engine. Right now we're determining whether it was the transfer case or the transmission, and right now it looks like it could be the transfer case. We spin this input shaft here from the transmission, and there's no resistance here. So here we've cracked open our transfer case, and just looking at what kind of damage you got going on here. Earlier we were describing I had an issue with the input shaft, wasn't putting any power to the rear wheels. After splitting it, don't see, can't physically see anything right now in the spider gear. Oh, I hear some grinding though, which doesn't sound too beautiful. This is the shift cam, and I guess the bearings in there are kind of tough. They're not terrible. They're not
Wouldn't be a bad idea to replace those right now.
Wouldn't be a bad idea, but we're not going to because they're really not that bad of shape. The real issue I'm seeing right now with this thing is this shift fork.
And as we thought on this side with the chain is still good.
Okay, so this is where the problem's going to be, is in this clutching. Right here. This is where our problem has started. I can under normal circumstances, you should be able to spin this input shaft. It should then engage a clutch on the inside of this. That should then spin the gear on here, which operates the front wheel drive shaft. And then on the same note, it should operate the rear,
which is over here.
Which is over there. So what had happened in this situation, we burnt out the clutch pack in the transfer case. The chain, all that is okay. It's the clutch pack to give out, and these is for an automatic shift 4x4. And they are known for this problem of burning out. So it's not as bad as I thought, but on the same note, it's still going to be some time before I can get it up and running and fixed again. I'm going to have to order parts and do all that BS. This filter is completely filled. So basically now we're just a matter of cleaning up the both halves here, and you know, seeing what else here is damaged as far as the electronics. I'm pretty sure that the shift motor isn't operating properly, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that off too while we're in here and have all this apart.
Okay, so because the camera didn't catch everything we did when we were splitting the transfer case, I'm going to explain exactly what happened. So, when you're splitting the transfer case, when you have the transfer case laying on the ground, there's going to be bolts all the way around. You pull all those bolts off, and depending on your transfer case, it should split. It will take a little bit of muscle, I guess you can say, to get it to come apart. And if it doesn't come apart, look on the back side of it. There's going to be a little rubber cap. You pull the cap off. There's going to be a clip inside. You spread the clip apart or pull it together depending on your transfer case. Once again, you push the clip down, and then you should be able to pull everything apart. Clutch assembly is going to stay in there. Your chain's going to stay on the one half. Everything else is going to be on the other half. So, like I said, I would have showed you that, but the camera didn't catch all the light, so just look for our next video where we put everything back together. I'm going to explain all that and show you guys how all that works.